Peace and blessings, everyone. I want to come back here and I want to come on here right quick. I want to talk about Mercury retrograde, the upcoming Mercury retrograde that we have in Gemini. So I want to talk about it because I know I can get sidetracked if I, go on about my day. But we have Mercury retrograde coming up in Gemini, and it's from May 10th, I think, to early June sometimes. Because I know Pluto just went retrograde. So, okay. So, with Mercury retrograde in Gemini, what that is about, first of all, I would like to say that those of you who are Sagittarius sun signs like me, I say check to see where Gemini is placed at in your chart. It's actually it should be a cross from it should be a right it should be opposed in the house that your natal sun sign is in. Actually, that would be your inner child. The earth, as they call it, the earth sign, they'll be your inner child. The sun sign is like your adult self that you was evolving to becoming. But the Gemini, but that earth sign, that goes for any sign. The earth sign is the sign that is opposite of your natal sun, the house that your natal sun sign is in your chart, but yet the same degree. And that's your inner child. And I feel what happened is that, but see, it's gonna be different for everybody because it depends on what house that inner child is in, or that earth sign is in, and it depends on, and as well as the sun sign, and it depends on the aspects, the rulers, and all of that, and the degrees, of course, and of course the transits that's making to your natal aspects of that. So I'll say, or if you don't have any placements or whatever there, just the rule itself of that particular house, where it's placed at and stuff, it's going to show where the areas of focus going to be. Um, so, like me, I know I have Sun in Sagittarius in the eighth, on the eighth house cusp, but I have my Earth sign, my inner child, my Earth sign is in Gemini on in the second house, or the second house cusp. So, yeah. So what I feel what it's gonna do is that with this Mercury retrograde particular, it's going to highlight that they go for any other in everyone else, despite of your sign. Look and see where Gemini is placed at in your chart. Also, it's going forward. My advice to you is that when the retrograde is happening in the opposite sign of your sun sign, look where the opposite sign is in. Look where the opposite sign is in, because that's going to highlight about something that could come up in regards about your own inner child, or your own karma, or your own wound, or your own wounds or wounding from your inner child, that it will highlight that could be standing in the way or blocking your inner child, or it's causing restrictions or anything of that nature that you will have to either continue to work on or heal, or whatever the case is, or change, or whatever the case is, so you can connect with your inner child better. Um, but with Mercury retrograde in Gemini, because it's different for a lot of people. I know people, they talked about with technology, they talk about glitches in technology, um, and they talked about, because of course, Gemini forms a sextile to, I mean, a trine to Aquarius anyway, because Saturn's in Aquarius. Of course, there's gonna be issues with, technology, vehicles and technology, and things of that nature. Now, here's the thing, because by the energies that had taken place, the eclipse taking place, and by the energies taking place in the fixed signs, especially with Taurus and Scorpio, because it's about letting something go. And Gemini itself represents community. Some of you all may end up letting go of may end up leaving your communities behind. Some people may get released from jail, because the third house itself can represent jail as well. Some of you all can can be leaving your communities behind or deciding where else to relocate. Some people, they could be with the Gemini energy, with Mercury retrograde and Gemini. I say be careful of people that come back from your past, because Gemini is a sign of shape shifting, because they can act as if they changed, but really they're not. I say be to follow your intuition, especially if it come down your romantic life, because someone, or even your sexual life, but definitely your romantic life. I'm not saying hold a grudges against your past, no. And it's fine to be cordial with them. It's fine to be cordial with people if you choose to from your past. It's definitely fine. But you don't want to just up and foolishly lay down anything with anyone from your past, because it just up and step them back in, or lay down with them either, because you may wake up out of the bed with something that you're gonna hate, that regret that you woke up with. So I'm just saying, for example. So I say be careful of that, because see, people come back from the past. Gemini that's the third sign. I mean, that's the third sign. That's the third house. That sign, it's about shape shifting. So I say be careful, because that's a trickster. That's the sign of a trickster. That's the magician. That's the sign of a trickster. So I say definitely be careful. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the actors or whatever could be going to therapy at this time. If not, they're gonna be getting called out more by their stage name as actors, rather than actually who they are. That's because when they was acting, the energy that the person that they was acting as, in the role that they accepted, it pretty much manifested through them. And so now it's kind of stuck onto that energy, and it's being projected out, to where's other seeing it, and it's projecting it back to them. Um, let me see what else. Of course, there's a lot of decisions being made, because when you got this energy happening in Gemini after what had just happened, when you got this energy taking place in Gemini after what all happened, so a lot of you could be making decisions that, as I stated, could be relocated to different communities, and or relocating to different cities, states, and stuff. Because I do see this is a time. Gemini is like the Lover's card. The tarot deck is about making decisions and making sure, and also Gemini is about paying attention to the detail, the fine print, because that's the third house. That's the what they consider the lower mind, because Sagittarius is what they consider the higher mind, ninth house, the overall picture. um, and even people who are Sagittarius sun signs, or anybody, but definitely also Sagittarius sun signs, because Gemini is the opposite sign. I say pay attention to details at this time, because you can learn from that energy. Pay close attention to detail at this time. Um, Especially when it comes down to signing things. If you're not sure about something, and it goes for anybody, despite your sign or whatever. If you're not sure about something, I say definitely get somebody who can interpret whatever that is for you, and break it down for you, so you can understand it better. Um, so definitely do that. But now, with this eclipse that is taking place, because also, especially if you have it happening in the third house, for example, whatever the case is, some of you, especially with the eclipse that's happened in Taurus, because it's that Taurus rule the throat chakra. Some of you may have had issues with saying no, or you may have been fearing of um, stepping on people's toes in terms of what you say, trying to be careful. I, I look at it this time. Some of you may end up, or some of you may have been afraid to speak up and speak out directly, or maybe speaking in hesitation, or maybe, or your actions may be hesitant. This is a time whereas people may end up really speaking up and speaking out, or saying no, or they may end up, really discriminating in terms of discernment, if you get what I'm saying, in this sense, rather than sitting up here being foolish and gullible, and letting anything sway them back in, despite of how people can shape shift, and the nature of people, how they can shape shift and things of that nature. um Um, let me see. And another thing that could also happen at this time, because like I said, divorces or breakups can potentially happen, or something may be given up. But also here's another thing. Remember that Gemini? Remember that them eclipses we had last year, Sagittarius and Gemini. We had those eclipses last year, and see, the South Node was in Sagittarius at the time. And it was back in last year, 2021. The South Node eclipse was in Sagittarius. The North Node was in Gemini. And see, Gemini is a Virgo. They share the same ruler. That's Mercury. So this is about here separating the wheat from the chaff. And so what happened is that when that happens, okay, that happened at the time. So what happening now is that it's like it's a connection to that. Whereas whereas with this eclipse of Gemini, because we got Mars coming up with Gemini, that's gonna be a long retrograde coming down, starting the end of the year, going to next year sometime. Okay, we got this. We got with Mercury happening in Mercury retrograde happening in Gemini. This gonna be about this time. This about this like a continuation of that. It's a connection of that when it come down to separating the wheat from the chaff. Like for example, because remember I talked about with this eclipse with Jupiter conjoined Neptune and Pisces about those who will last should come first and those who will first should come last. This is kind of interconnected with that. Actually, Gemini and Pisces form a square to each other. So this is like a connection to that. I had to look back and see if they're really aspected it, but this is like a connection to that. And so this is more so about those who are separated, those who align with their what they consider the Christ consciousness, those who align with the true authentic self, align with them, really align with themselves, the true authentic self. These are the people here, because it is separating those. It's separating the ones who were also the ones who were doubted, those who were looked down upon, um, those who were looked down upon. I say even people who are homeless, because Gemini does represent community service, and even though Virgo represents our service to this service to others, but those, I mean, people who look down upon, and also people personally who was also the black sheep in a family, or the black sheeps or something. Look at the black sheeps or the oddballs or something. These people, because this is like a line that's separating those people, because these are the people who was they consider quote unquote last would come first. People who taken advantage of, abused, and all of that. Those people, all of those people adapting, escaping their fears and all. Those people gonna be the ones that's rising up, and they gonna be coming. They gonna be coming to the forefront as when Saturn going to Pisces, even though the North Node going to Aries, but with Neptune going to Aries, Saturn going to Aries to point forward, those people gonna be placed with new responsibility. Those chosen, those who will last to come first. Meanwhile, those who climb their way up the ladder, I mean, I would say climb their way up the ladder, didn't work their way up the ladder. Um, those who didn't work their way up the ladder, cause we got Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. Pluto, because Capricorn represents the mountain goat. You got two types of goats: the mountain goat, then you got the sea goat. The mountain goat is the one who climb up the ladder, but eventually get there. They're up there for eternity, meaning that whether they work hard for it, it is there. Saturn reward is for eternity, versus because that's ruler Capricorn. Versus the sea goat is the ones who sat up there, and they done things just for easily get. They just done things for to easily get their way up there, especially even dark things. And so now it's like a correction happening. Those people are basically declining, and they're falling right now. Um, uh, So that's what's going on, because this is a time now where it's a lot of correction is taking place. It is happening, because with the North Node of Taurus, you got Saturn in Aquarius, which represents corrections. Aquarius represents correction. You got Saturn. I mean, you got the North Node in Taurus. Taurus is about things that are being done by the book, versus like with the South Node of Scorpio is about being strategic and kind of going up in different ways. But Taurus is about doing things by the book. So with that being said, and then you got Pluto itself, and Pluto is trying in that North Node, that but it is sextile in that South Node. That's what's going on there. So it's like a correction that's taking place. It's a correction that's taking place here when you really look at it. But those people who working out the seagull energy, they're the ones that's gonna end up falling. And they're the ones gonna end up falling. Those who are looking down on people, who overlooking people, looking down on people, and those things, those people who, because see, I talked about with the eclipse is about control. I mean, these people gonna be losing, though, especially on the fixed signs. Definitely they're gonna be losing control in some type of way. Some of them gonna be even self-destruct, because the South Node in Scorpio is about self-destruction. Some of them like even self-destruct. Some of these people, due to them losing control. But it all got to happen. It got to happen. Um, and as Jupiter could join Neptune, it's gonna help bring, and it trying the South Node is gonna help bring all of that up, their intentions and stuff, or their issues, and who they truly are, and it all got to happen. It really got to happen. It all has to happen. It all has to happen. And I feel that in itself, those people who love shape shifting, that this is gonna stifle, those people who like to shape shift and go through their shape shifting energy, um, especially just for the gap they want and stuff. That's gonna pretty much stifle that. It's what's gonna happen. That's gonna be an obstacle in the way of that. And also with this energy, people gonna see what they were projecting out subconsciously. They're gonna I mean, versus what they're projecting consciously. It's going to reflect back. And I talked about in the Capricorn and Aquarius video I made not too long ago, that I made back here a while back, about with Capricorn and Aquarius, because Capricorn represents everything out on the table. You want everything out on the table, versus Aquarius represents rationalizing what's there, versus the authentic layer, the superficial, the artificial layer, versus the authentic layer. What you projecting out consciously versus the subconsciously. But that foundation is Capricorn, which is which is everything, mean everything out on the table. Because with this Pluto retrograde is different. This Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, it wants basically, how can I put this? This Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, it want anything that is not no longer serving you a purpose is gonna fall away. Internally, externally, all of that is gonna fall away. Either trauma is going to be healed and it's going to be removed at this time divinely, and the cord cuttings, it's going to happen naturally, and any cord cut is going to happen naturally. I even learned this in when I got an energy clearing from a shaman, when he even said that, from a professional shaman, when he even said that energies and entities, actually particles of people's soul, because Scorpio represents the soul, particles of people fragments of people's soul can tend to latch on to your energy due to trauma. Others people, due to their trauma and all, their soul's particles, the fragments of their soul, can latch onto anybody else's energy. And some of you may have that may have it latched onto your energy, whereas it's stifling you, taking you against your own energy, causing roadblocks, and it's stifling you. It's stifling you from who you truly are, or if you get to know who you truly are, access to your abilities, and also which cause energetically for things to be blocked off from you. It causes a hindrance in who you truly are, your true authentic self. So those things are going to be removed at this time. Because Capricorn itself represents things that latches to you, but this time it's being unlatched. And Gemini is going to show those attachments. Gemini is going to show those attachments. When you think about it, it's like something that's attached to you, but it's like, I would say it's like in a dualistic nature type way, but it's it's stifling you. It's kind of like a blockage. It's like something latching onto your aura and it's side by side, but it's causing a blockage. So that's going to be removed at the side. So therefore, fragments of your soul can be restored. So therefore, it will be called back in and it will be restored. So therefore, because those traumas being removed, so it's just like an energy clearing. So therefore, you will get to know who you truly are, your true authentic self. You will get to know who you truly are. Not only that, because you be going to flow your energies, things that were closed off to you will be opened up to you. Abundance, blessings, and all. And not only that, but what else I wanted to say? It was something else I wanted to say as well, because I kind of got a little sidetracked. But that's what's going to happen at this time. That's what's going to end up happening. But just what I want to say. But even after those gotten removed, guess what? You're gonna see the work that you've done on yourself, or people gonna see the shadow work that they done on themselves. They're gonna see, they're gonna get rewarded for that. Actually, and actually, it's a lot of wisdom, because Pisces represents wisdom. It's a lot of wisdom that has been gained from it. Like I said, for example, especially those people who have Saturn on their ascendant like me, you may feel, or people, you may feel like your life, or those of you who felt like your life has been going in reverse, especially from childhood up to now. You may have felt like your life was going in reverse, but in actuality, you're gonna end up finding your tribe. You're gonna fall in, you're gonna find your tribe, because you meant to stand out, and you meant to stand out for a reason. And you embrace whatever you needed to embrace, learn whatever you need to learn, and you embrace whatever you needed to embrace. Is what that is. Because it's like some of you may have felt like you painfully ahead of your time is coming up, and have to learn responsibility at a very early age. Then even some of it may have like some people may have been morally considerate. It's like, okay, that person's too young to learn that, or you probably felt low on energy. But now, as you get older, it's like you're gonna feel younger. It's like the older you get, the younger you will feel. It's like you're gonna feel younger. You're gonna feel like you want to go out and do this, that, or things that you never done before, and all those things. But yes, with this Mercury retrograde in Gemini, that's gonna be the continue. That's gonna be the that Mercury retrograde in Gemini. That's gonna be the continuum of that, because it's kind of set. It's starting to set in stone. So that's gonna be continued. That's gonna be the continuum of that. But this one I want to come on here and talk about. Until next time, peace and blessings. And also there'll be a change in perception as well, or it will show how much your perceptions has changed, or there'll be a change in perception. That is another thing as well with this Mercury retrograde in Gemini, with these fixed sign eclipses that has on this fixed axis taking place. That has to be any perceptions that you had on anything or whatever, or perceptions or any habits or anything outdated that'll be released. And also Gemini represents the mind, or it can represent mental energy or mental health. So anything in regards to the mental health, that's going to be, because see, let me see, Mercury retrograde to Gemini, so it is going to be the mutable signs. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces is going to be affected by this. So anything in regards to any mental health, as far as the health, Virgo rules the health, or even mental health, that's going to be highlighted at this time as well. And that could be also even connected with the traumas that you have, or whatever the case is, or what caused it. That's why I said something gonna be highlighted about your inner child. I mean, those people who are, for example, who are Sagittarius, those things are definitely gonna be highlighted. Or even those of you who are let me see. Yeah, so those of you who are up under those, who are born under those four signs, Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, or Virgo, what you would do is that you will look at, because those signs right there, whatever, if your sun sign is one of those, the opposite sign of that sun sign, which is either one of those, is going to be your inner child. It's going to highlight that. Even if you haven't dealing with any mental energy or what caused it, it all gonna be highlighted. It all gonna be highlighted. So I say definitely check, as I stated before, check and see where your sun sign is placed in, if you don't know. And also, because the degree is important too. Or look at whatever aspects of rulers. Also, look at the opposite. Look at the opposite. Look at the opposite house. The opposite sign in that opposite house that is placed in, at the same degree, whatever aspects. And look at the ruler, because like mine, I have sun in Sagittarius on the 8th house cusp, but my earth sign, my inner child, was in Gemini on the 2nd house cusp, and Mercury, the ruler of my 2nd house is Mercury. And also Mercury represents the voice. So some of you may have abilities in terms of singing. You may have soothing voices. It's all depending on where your Mercury is located at too. In terms of communication. See, and then by my ruler is being in the 2nd house. See, by my ruler of my 2nd house is in the 7th house, which is in Scorpio. And the 7th house is dealing with others. So by being in Scorpio, that's about me being exposed to things at an early age, far as in terms of like with speech, learning, learning to talk at an early age, learning quickly at an early age. Also that and also it's about me seeing other things at an early age. It was other things that I seen at an early age that I wasn't, because Mercury and Scorpio in the 7th, you will see Mercury and Scorpio, you will see things at an early age, especially if you have in the 7th house. Like me, you will see things or be exposed to things at an early age that will be considered like morally wrong to be in society, to be exposed to at an early age, because Scorpio represents taboo, or represents things, and taboo represents things that are considered as abomination, or Scorpio's like underworld type activities, like such as like you may see like players playing people and things of that nature. Which that's why I was exposed to at an early age. I get to that in another time of witnessing all that and all that type of stuff, and it was raw. It's raw and things of that nature. Which I would get to that in another time. But like I said, look where the ruler of your the opposite sign is placed. Also, don't forget your sun sign, but look where the ruler of your opposite sign is placed, and look at the ruler of that house and of that opposite sign, and look where it's placed and see what's aspecting it. Not only that, but also it's like, because like I said, things will be it, you'll be shown things in terms of your inner child. You will be shown things, or things will be brought back up from your inner child. Some of you'll be called to rectify something, because see, with this energy we're on the two, it's about rectifying. So before you're moving forward with anything, you'll be called to rectify something. So I say, so when you look at all that, in other words, making corrections, this is what rectify means: to correct something, to make something right. So so as I stated before, best thing to do is to do those things. So therefore, you will actually see what could be coming up for you, or how this could potentially play out for you in a way, or you get a picture of how it could potentially play out for you in possible ways. So yeah, but this is what I want to come on and talk about. Until next time, peace and blessings.